My people, the women of Ile-Ife have come out to say that the things that are happening in the palace lately does not speak of a palace, of a place where a palace, of the things that should be heard about a palace. They just concluded the Olojo festival, and the first thing coming out of Ile-Ife is the fact that um, Miriam pointed a gun at Olori Naomi's head in Olori Naomi's church. And these women are beginning to say one or two things. You know, there was a time they told the Oni that they want the Oni to be a talk and do king. Yes, they want him to be that talk and do king. And they really, really appreciate the fact that the Oni owned up onto it. And over time, they have heard how the Oni has learned to deal with his wives. He has learned to tell them that this thing you are doing is wrong. He has learned to, let them know that this thing is not meant to be done, or this particular thing you are doing, it is out of context. They really, really appreciate it. But right now, their most concern is the fact that all of these things does not end there. Yes, because Oni has already given these women that space to do whatever it is they want to do. Yes, we all know that, and everybody is actually talking about it, that these women have the space to do whatever it is they want to do. And as it is right now, they are actually behaving like people who owns it all. Yes, they are behaving like people who owns it all, because see, as it is right now, no, all of them are behaving like we are the bosses. Yes. So now this is what the women of Ile are saying. They are saying that they have been quiet for quite a very long time. But them coming back to speak, that proves that there is a matter that calls there is a matter that is urgent and it calls their attention. And they all know that when they come into a matter, they don't just come into the matter, they come to proffer solutions. If Miriam walks away, if Miriam walks away with pointing a gun to Naomi's head, then definitely tomorrow another person will do the same. And it is something they are not going to tolerate. They are not just going to tolerate it that it is Naomi. They are not going to take it at all. Anybody doing that with their own is wise. Yes, the women have refused divorce and they are there. So now, basically, they just want to use Miriam as an example. But we don't know if the Oni would accept, because we all know that no matter what these women decide, Oni still has the final say as far if it is going to happen or not. Oni still gets to have the final say in the midst of this whole thing. He says that, okay, go ahead. Yes, because they will still present this issue before him if it will happen. So now this woman wants to drag Miriam to the market square. And you know what happens when they drag someone to the market square. It is always bad. It is always very, very bad. So, so bad. Because as we speak right now, all of us, we know vividly speaking that there are levels to these things. If the elders come to speak, there is a level to which the only would listen. If the women of Ile-Ife come to speak, we all know that there is a level to which the only would listen. And these women have had a very total control over the years, and they are the ones saying that what they would want to drag Miriam down to the market square. Though, know you that Miriam, as we speak right now, she's nowhere to be found. Miriam runs off anytime she does something bad. But you should know, women, this is not a man that by the time you will come back, they will say, the matter you don't tell now, let's leave it. Women of Ile-Ife would wait for you. And believe me or not, when you finally show up, they will treat that matter like it just happened. And Miriam is nowhere to be found now, and the women of Ile-Ife are proposing on taking her to the market square. It will go so bad. Yes, it will be so, so bad for Miriam if Oni grants that request. Now it is just for Oni to say that, well, go ahead and do what you want to do. Of which we know very well that it might be difficult for the Oni to say, because it has to do with one of his wives. No matter how you think the Oni really, really wants to do away with this woman, there is still that iota of love. There is that love hanging somewhere. Because not like they only hate his wives. No, he doesn't. This man does not hate his wives. What this man hates is the character they exude, that character they put up, that character they keep on showing people on daily basis. Yes, because that character speaks bad of the palace. It speaks negative of the palace. It gives the palace an image that does not authenticate what it is. And day in, day out, everybody that has been concerned about this palace keep on saying day after day that what if it continues like this, then what will be left of the palace? Yes, what will be left? Now, remember that it takes only one thing to bring someone's career down. The one is going to be on that throne until he hands over to his son. The same way his father handed over to him. But for how long? How long would the repetition be kept? It is a question everybody is asking. Because the way his wives are behaving, they are not behaving in such a manner that warrants him to remain that long, that relevant. You know that there were some things that happened, some kings that got themselves involved in things they should not have gotten themselves involved in, and before their rulership even ended, they lost value while on the throne. You are still on the throne, and then you lost value. People do not care who you are. People do not care what you do. People do not care how you earn. People do not even care how you survive it. Yes, people don't care. All they care about is that path where you all they care about is that particular path where you are just there as, yeah, they're just calling you the king or the only one, any single thing. They don't really care about the output and anything at all. And you know that this man has built capacity to a point that people would not want such a thing to happen. That point where his wives will make him lose that personality just to become what, a king on the throne. No, it is not meant to even be heard with him because of the kind